So welcome back to the Creativity Series, and to day 8 of part 1. Now, several days ago, I mentioned the idea of motivation and not focusing too hard on trying to get a particular result out of the meditation. Of course, in this instance, in this series, not trying too hard to force a creative idea to arise. But I think in looking at motivation, we could take it even one step further. Because I think when we first begin to meditate, it's natural we come to it with a sense of wanting to get something out of it ourselves. We then might potentially let that go and focus more on others, but then over time that old motivation can start to creep back in again, and we start to think we're meditating again to get something out of it for ourselves. Well, the good news is those things come anyway. That's just part of the process of meditation. So we don't really have to worry or focus too much on trying to get those things. Which brings about an interesting idea in terms of how we approach the exercise and how actually in placing our motivation in a slightly different place, putting others and the benefit of the exercise actually before our own wishes, we can actually start to change the dynamics of the exercise itself. In fact, when you sit down to meditate, if you can have as your very first thought, okay, well, this is a really good exercise because it benefits those around me, and then, and off the back of that would be really nice if I felt a little bit better and I had a few more creative thoughts, then I think you'll see a real shift in your meditation. And so that's just something you might like to include as you get yourself comfortable, even now at the very beginning. Just being clear in your mind about the real sense of intention, motivation, or resolve in sitting down to do this exercise today. So with the eyes open, just taking some nice big deep breaths. Letting go of any thoughts, focusing on the chest expanding as you inhale. And noticing how the body softens as it exhales. With the next out-breath, just closing the eyes, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. As you just take a minute or two just to settle in the environment in which you're sat right now, and just starting to notice the different physical senses. Starting with the weight of the body on the chair. And then just bringing the attention back to the body now. Getting a feel for the different sensations in the body and the overall feeling of the body. And starting at the top of the head, just taking 30 seconds or so to scan down, to notice not just the areas that feel uncomfortable in some way, but also to notice the areas that feel very spacious, very relaxed, even if they're just the smaller parts of the body. At the same time, just starting to build up an awareness of how you're actually feeling today. Or more accurately, the emotion which is present right now. Remember, if it's difficult to get a sense of what the emotion is, you'll often get a clue in how you're trying to look for it. So if there's a sense of frustration in not being able to find it, then there's a pretty good chance that frustration or anger will be the emotion that's present. Or if there's a sense of worry or doubt or happiness, excitement, whatever it might be. So noticing the way in which you're looking for that emotion as well. Just pausing to remember why you're doing this exercise today, and perhaps just starting to incorporate into that motivation the idea of how this short period of time can start to affect the people around you in your life. And having that as a starting point for your motivation in this exercise and potentially every exercise hereafter. Before turning your attention to the breath, just reminding yourself one last time that with this exercise there's a real sense of effortlessness about it. No need to do anything, it's just stepping back and allowing the body and mind to unwind. So just take a minute or two now just to become a bit more familiar with the breath, where you feel it, and the natural rhythm of the breath in that place. having followed the breath in that way, remember it's fine for there still to be some thoughts around. Just let those come and go. But shifting your attention above the head now, bringing to mind the idea of that sunlight just streaming down through the top of the head into the body, and in your own time just watching now as the body fills up one part at a time, just bringing with it a natural sense of ease, relaxation and calm. And by now just moving into the upper half of the body, and don't worry if the mind wanders, just gently bringing it back that moment you realize you've been distracted. And as it starts to fill up now through the throat and the neck area, all the way up to the top of the head, the idea that it continues to stream down, to flow down, continually replenishing that feeling, the idea that it will continue long after the meditation's finished today. For now, just resting the mind in that space as you continue to follow the breath. And now just letting go of any focus on that feeling, any thoughts about the exercise, any focus on the breath, just letting the mind do whatever it wants to do. And then just bringing the attention back to the body, re-engaging those physical senses as you become aware of the contact between the body on the chair or the floor, the feet on the floor, hands in the arms on the legs, noticing any sounds, smells, just bringing yourself back in to the environment in which you're sat, and then in your own time, just gently opening the eyes again. And as you just maintain that position, posture just for a moment, clear about how you're feeling, clear about the intention to be aware throughout the day. And knowing where you're going next, what it is you're going to do next, and seeing how far through your day you can get, maintaining that sense of awareness. But for now, you can just sit back in the chair, have a stretch. And as you sit there, I'd just like to finish today with that idea that we began with, and the idea of motivation. Now, the interesting thing is it doesn't apply only to our meditation practice. It actually applies very much, perhaps even more so, to everyday life as well. The more we carry with us a sense of being less focused on our own sort of thoughts and needs, whatever it might be, and more focused on people around us and ways in which we can benefit them, then actually the less stressed we tend to get, the more open our mind becomes, and therefore the more creative we become. So there's something that we get to benefit out of ourselves. Obviously, other people get to benefit out of it because we have their interests at heart as well as our own. But there's a very positive cycle that begins here, and it impacts both ways. In everyday life, the way in which we approach at that life impacts our meditation, and vice versa. So just see today how having a more altruistic, a more generous state of mind can actually result in a greater amount of peace of mind for yourself, but also, more relevant to this series, can also bring about a greater sense of creativity